What's up, traders? It's your boy Vincent, aka VinnBoss from VinnBoss Signal Factory, and today we are going to be diving deep into the top weekly Forex forecast. And very simply put, we start always with the DXY. And remember, last week I was looking for a pull to the downside and then a bounce to the upside to find buying opportunities right around this level. And if you look right now, this is exactly what my long position looks like in the DXY. But before we get into what will happen next week, let's go and see what happened from last week. Now, traders, this is what it is like being in the real account traders community. With that being said, we are now buying from this. This is this week. Last week, this is why we made money, and we made money with the DXY and the effects of the war continuing. And Trump already continues with the war, with his war, and that would be beneficial for the dollar because it is a safe haven currency in terms of news like this, or in terms of catalysts like this. Traders tend to move their money into the safe hands, which is the dollar. And this is the move to the upside that I'm expecting. I'm not looking for any selling opportunities. Now, this is what we are doing every single week. We are doing this every single week. We were expecting buying opportunities from this, exactly buying opportunities we got, and we are now long closer to 1:20. I think we might reach 1:20 before we come down. Now, let's be serious about what is going to happen next week. This move right here, it pretty much looks like it is closer to an end. We are about to see a pullback. Now, if we go into the daily time frame like this one, you can realize and see that we have reached our resistance level right here. We have reached the resistance level right here, which means right now we might, obviously we are now structured to the upside, but what we might typically see before the continuation is a pullback to go and test this broken resistance, which will turn into liquidity, and then look for buying opportunities, of course, just like I have just shown you in the daily chart. Now let me repeat this. We might see this, and we already have some stops trailed from our position here. Some stops are trailed to here, and in case we come down without hitting that 1:20, we can take 1:17, 1:18. It is still very much enough money for the real account traders community members. So with that being said, this would be like this, and then a continuation to the upside. But I do think if we are going to see a pullback going into this week, because we do have many interest rate decisions coming up, if we are going to see a pullback coming into play this week, we might start to see this moving from Thursday or even Wednesday, then the continuation to the upside as the signal to continue the upside. This is what I expect from the dollar going into next week, and the DXY is exactly what the representation of the dollar looks like. So this is the DXY. Let's go over to currencies and see what they have in store for us. So, beautiful traders, what I would like to explain here with the euro and the dollar is very simply put. Last week, what we did was we waited for this pullback, look for selling opportunities, and it was easy for us to go down. Some people were expecting to see this return to the upside. I did mention that the only time that I personally would be looking for selling opportunities is if we break this red line right here with a strong bullish momentum. That is only when I would be looking for buying opportunities, and everything seemed to be going perfect according to the plan last week to the downside, and everything was, we did break this low, and we are nearing our 1:20 risk to reward ratio. I think we might reach this on Monday and then starts pulling back to this level right here. Now, very simply put, from next week, what I would like to see happening in this market is finding ways to find a pullback. Of course, wait for the pullback. And then with the weight of this pullback, this might be a great place to look for selling opportunities and then a continuation to the downside. Now, this on its own looks fantastic, and it is one of the setups that I personally would be looking for. This is the highest probability chance for next week. And I would also like to remind you guys that we use the wave liquidity, the monthly liquidity, and the 14-day liquidity. So on Thursday, let me check my calendar. Let me check my calendar. So on Thursday, we do have the 14-day liquidity is going to be moved, of course, and we are going to have a confirmed different structure. So from now on up until Thursday, I think the market might just be correcting to find the perfect setup and then before it can continue to the downside. So which is why a pullback is the highest probability chance going into Monday up until Thursday. And then on Thursday, I will drop a new video with the new 14-day liquidity, because right now we do not move much of the 14-day liquidity is still here. It might be invalid as now, but we follow protocol. No matter what, we still put it there so that it can be moved as soon as the 14 days is over. So with that being said, beautiful traders, this is the euro and the dollar and what was expected from the weekly top forex forecast. So before anything else, let me just remind you that for you to join this trading signals is very simple. All you have to do, everything is left under the video description here on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, check the video description, register under the exclusive XNS link, verify your trading account, fund the minimum of $100 or more. If you want, you can fund $300 or even $500 upwards, because the bigger the funding, the bigger the profits. And with that being said, this will also, after that, you send proof of registration to me on Telegram. This is the link to the Telegram free signal, t.me/VinnBoss free signals. This is the free signal channel on Telegram. So you have to go in there, send me proof of registration right on Telegram. I'm the only admin on the Telegram channel. I don't share the Telegram channel with anyone. And with that being said, back to the charts. I would also like to show you that what we did expect from last week with this euro dollar. This was the top, this was the weekly forex forecast signal from last week Sunday. Now, what do I expect? Because we've won now from this, I want to see myself, I want to see this kind of A, B, C correction and a continuation to the downside to break out structure, or to make that 1:20 risk to reward ratio on the euro and the dollar. Now, that's exactly what happened last week with the euro and the dollar. We did come here, reached the level, boom, to the downside. This is exactly what we keep on doing. We've been doing this for a long time now. And with that being said, beautiful traders, this is not only uh what we do here, we do it each and every single time. So you don't have to miss out or stress out on everything when it comes to trading. And also, we do have a video that we dropped on yesterday with our top performers of the week. Go watch the video to see all the full signals of what happens. That includes the real account traders community, not just the 4 signal currency pairs that are explained right here on the free YouTube currency, the free YouTube signals. We also have with the real account traders community, we include all currency pairs, but we don't trade all of them because, of course, there are strong currencies heading into every week, and there are weaker currencies heading to every week. So to make sure that it is easier for us to catch pips on the real account traders community, we do join the strongest versus the weakest currency to make sure that we have a smooth running signals. But in here on the free YouTube channel, what we have is, very simply put, the most voted currencies, which is the euro dollar, the pound dollar, the US dollar Japanese yen, and the US dollar Canadian dollar. These are the most traded currency pairs, and this will help you even if you are a new trader to the market. Will also help you to see how we trade professionals and how we trade also in the real account traders community. So that is it from me, traders. See you again on the pound and the dollar. And with the pound and the dollar, very simply put, last week we are already done with this setup of 1:20. We did make 1:20 with this setup to the downside, and this was expected, and everything went exactly as planned. As you can see, the arrow from last week is still there, and it shows a pullback, a retest, and a continuation to the downside. But before we go anywhere else, let's go and see what the market, what the analysis did for us. Now, traders, that's exactly what happened. We did break the January low. February low was already here, and we did break it, and then we did break it to the downside, which gives us more of the reason to believe that we are now in a pullback to retest this 14-day liquidity right here at 1.3449, and then look for bearish opportunities to continue to the downside right here to break low, or aim for that 1:20 risk, 1:20 risk to reward ratio. If you don't know how to, now that is the pound and the dollar for you. We are already done in here. Nobody is still in this currency pair as we speak. Everybody from the real account traders community is done here. Of course, I will not say everybody, because there are those who are greedy. They might be targeting last week's target here to reach here, and then before the pullback comes in. Now we get to the most interesting part going into next week. What do I want to see happening from here? Sorry for that. What do I want to see happening from here? I would like to see this move starting to begin as a pullback to come retest this level right here, and then look for selling opportunities to the downside. There is no different version of this where I'm looking for buying opportunities. No. Remember, the only time that I personally would be looking for buying opportunities is if we invalidate February's high and we start going in and continue to the upside with a strong momentum like this one. But if you do not have it, everything else is just going to test here, or test here, or even better, test here, and then continuation will be imminent on either three situations. We are not looking for any buying opportunities. Just like from here, we were not buying this to get here. We wait because we want to eliminate the chances of losing, and then after the wait, this came, and then we hit the precision entry, and then continuation to the downside happened. We made that 1:20 risk to reward ratio. That means if you risked $100 on that trade, you would have made 2,000 on this trade. This is how we roll week in and week out. So traders, this is the pound and the dollar for me. Let's go straight to see what the US dollar and the Japanese yen has in store for us. Traders, we do have US dollar and Japanese yen here to answer with you what is going to happen. Now, if we get into this, we remember that last week we started the week here and we were already in this buy here, and those who missed joined us here. We didn't have a break even, and the take profit was here, and as the week closed, we were here. And what did I expect? I expected this to close and take profit before it can come down and retest, or rather, if it retests without taking profit, this was still going to be the setup and then a continuation to the upside. Let me go and show you exactly what happened with the US dollar and the Japanese yen. This is what I expected when the week was starting. Going into what do I expect to see? Probably what I want to see is this continue to the upside to take out our 1:20 so that we can be done for the week. This is the last week's weekly Forex forecast. And be prepared to trade other currencies. But if it does happen that we do go down to do a second retest of this and then a continuation to the upside to make this double bottom kind of formation and then taking out profit, this would still be analyzed and it is still within the calculated spectrum of my strategy. If you want this strategy, it's very simple for you to get the strategy. Do you guys see now? This is the first time with the US dollar Japanese yen. After it closed, we didn't have the second option of the pullback. We went straight, we took the pullback, and after that, we waited for the pullback and we gave the signal right here in lower time frames. But this signal was only given on the real account traders community. So let's go in the mark. Let's go in this video of last week and see what it had in store for us. That being said, let's go and see what this signal was later updated, because we did take profit before. This signal was later updated. This is the real account traders community video when the signal was starting and when we were inside the signal already. Updated in the real account traders community. Real account traders, alert, alert, alert. We are all inside this trade, right? But for those of you who have missed this trade, I did mention that after this we would have a pullback where we're going to retest right here 1.5772, 157.72, and then the second place to retest is right here 157.37. Now, if you managed to enter here already, you are in break even. But if you missed, this is a great place to look for buying opportunities, of course. The overall direction to the upside. Traders, this is to the upside. We are not looking to sell this at all. So if you do get any bullish pin bar from this candle or the next, and a confirmation that, because why do I want to buy this now? This is a one leg down, and the leg to the upside broke this top and it came down to retest the resistance and the liquidity. This is why I want to see it go to the upside. Let's go, real account traders. Let's go. Let's go. That is how. Now, the signal was analyzed in smaller time frames, because that's what we do in the real account traders community. We check for entries in smaller time frames, and this is the results of it going to the upside as we were intending. We operate in the real account traders community. Now let's zoom in on the 30 minutes time frame to see exactly what I did with the signal. This is the signal. This is the signal where we got in. We had a break even and we had to re-enter again from these levels, and this has been like this, and we are still expecting more upside on this currency pair, as dollar is now dominating the market with its safe haven value. Okay, this is on the 1 hour time frame. We got this. Listen, traders, this is not by chance. I repeat, this is not by chance. We got to this We took 1:20. We got to this, had a break even because we bought here, and then we had a break even. And after this, as soon as we saw the candle pulling up, because we were expecting buyers in here, just like you saw in the video, we entered again, and this kept on making higher highs and higher lows to the upside, traders. This is exactly what VinnBoss Signal Factory is about. This is exactly, do you guys see? That is perfection at its best. And with that said, we are now going into next week. We are now expecting this to keep on going to the upside like this, to take out our 1:20 risk to reward ratio, or rather for us to come down, pull back, retest the broken resistance, which will turn support, and liquidity down here to retest either of the two, and then a continuation to the upside to take out that 1:20, excuse my 1:20 risk to reward ratio. Now, with that being said, the only time I'll be looking for selling opportunities is if we do break this level here, this red horizontal line here, which is the monthly break of structure of the low of February, which is at 152.252. This is exactly where I'll be looking for selling opportunities. If we break like this and then retest it, and then a continuation to the downside will be most likely for us to do this. So with that being said, beautiful traders, what I want to see going into this week is a pullback, because I did mention that we have the Japanese yen uh interest rate coming into next week. We have the dollar interest rate coming into next week. We have a couple of other interest rates coming into next week, except the NZD only, if I'm not mistaken. And then the majority of this will be to the upside. So with that being said, beautiful traders, this is what I expect to the upside. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and let's do the last but not least, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. And traders, with the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, very simply put, last week we were expecting to see a bounce from this level and start making higher highs, and we did better than expected. We didn't come up struggling like we were expecting to see. We didn't come up struggling like this. In fact, we just built momentum and then boom to the upside, just as you can see. But before we can even tell you guys what to expect going into next week, let me just show you what is going to happen going into what happened, or rather what happened last week. And this was not on the VIP group. This was straight out of the weekly Forex Forecast video that was edited on last week Sunday. So please make sure you go to those videos and you see what happened. You go back to the next video, you see what happened, so that you can understand the lethalness of the strategy that I'm using. So with that being said, let's see what I said about this last week. Chart from February. Now, what do I expect to see from this? I expect to see a bounce from here and start making higher highs to the upside if the dollar persists and remain bullish to the upside. But this one, in short, is not my favorite. Why is it? Excuse me. Why is it not my favorite? Because the Canadian dollar is stronger than the US dollar. This is the strength of the Canadian dollar. This is the strength of the US dollar. And overall, on these currencies, I am bullish on the US dollar against a basket of other currency pairs. Now, this is exactly what we are talking about. Despite the strength of the Canadian dollar from last week, we still were bullish to the upside because of the structure, and the fundamentals, of course, do tend to blow the technicals out of the water. So we do follow the fundamentals, especially with the safe haven rules and everything, and correlation most importantly. So with that being said, this was a great bounce from this brown horizontal line here, which is 1.3550 right here written. And this is the line, and the bounce happened, and then after the bounce we had a reaction to go and test, and then a continuation to the upside. Now, what do I expect to see next? It's very important. I expect to see this currency coming down to retest this level right here of 1.3714, and then start looking for buying opportunities and then to continue to the upside. This is a better continuation to the upside. If we do have this would be a fantastic setup to the upside. I do want to see us breaking this top and breaking the February high on this currency pair, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. Of course, we are already in profit. If you missed, you might wait for here and then look for buying opportunities to the upside to break out structure right here and take profit with us out there. So that is it from me, traders. I would like to remind you again, make sure you register your trading account with an exclusive XNS link. Verify your trading account, fund the minimum of $100 or more, send proof of registration to me and a funded account, and then send me the proof of registration to VinnBoss free signals. You can go on Telegram and search VinnBoss free signals, or you can just go in Telegram and be like t.me/VinnBoss free signals. That's the link to the Telegram channel. That is the link to the Telegram channel. So traders, this is exactly what we want to see other traders doing, especially new traders. It takes a lot of time. I took a lot of time learning so that you guys don't have to learn. Take, you have to learn, but you don't have to take that much time to learn what I learned after a long time. You just have to master it simply and then keep on continuing with your success to becoming a greatest or one of the greatest Forex traders or Forex investors. So traders, with that being said, bye bye. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you join the Telegram channel, you register. Then all your pains of losing, struggling with market understanding will be gone.